They called it the Sky Serpent, an ancient machine creature said to sleep above the clouds, drifting silently across the upper atmosphere. Most people believed it was only a legend, a story told by old pilots who wanted to sound brave. But on this day, far from home and far above the world below, a small exploration ship named Horizon Runner learned that the legend was real. The crew of the Horizon Runner had been on a long mission, scanning strange energy signals coming from the far side of the planet. Their commander, Captain Yelen Rhodes, stood at the front of the cockpit and watched the sky with tired eyes. He had done this work for years, and nothing surprised him anymore, at least not until the first alarm sounded. It started as a soft beep, one that the ship never used for emergencies, but the screen flashed bright red, and the soft beep became a loud, repeating warning. The ship's sensors were picking up something massive, hiding in the clouds below. At first, they thought it was a mistake. Their scanners kept flickering, unable to get a clear image. But then the shadows moved. Lieutenant Miri Davin leaned forward in her chair. She squinted at the swirling clouds outside the window. Something was shifting in the storm clouds, something huge. The wind patterns twisted as if pulled by an unseen force. Strange arcs of blue electricity danced around the moving shape, jumping from cloud to cloud. The crew stared in silence. None of them had ever seen anything like it. Then it appeared. The clouds ripped open like torn fabric, and the massive creature slid through the sky with slow, smooth movements. The crew could not breathe as they watched it. Its body was long and metallic, shaped like a gigantic armored serpent. Plates of dark silver armor covered its form, glowing faintly with blue light. Its eyes were enormous, like two shining white stars, and they locked directly onto the Horizon Runner. For a moment, everything was silent inside the ship. No one moved. No one spoke. They were frozen, stunned by the impossible sight. The Sky Serpent, the creature of legend, was hovering only a short distance away. Looking straight at them, the creature opened its mouth. Instead of teeth, rows of bright, energy-filled vents glowed like hot coals. A deep, vibrating sound filled the air, shaking the hull of the Horizon Runner. Captain Yelen felt his chest tighten. They were in danger. The crew snapped back to life the moment the ship shook again. "Move!" Yelen shouted. "Miri, get us out of here." But the Sky Serpent moved faster than they expected. It circled the small ship, leaving a trail of glowing light behind. Every sensor on the Horizon Runner overloaded, sending bursts of static across every screen. The ship lost power for 3 seconds. 3 very long seconds. In the darkness, they felt the creature pass beneath them. They heard its strange humming song, deep and powerful, vibrating through the metal floor. And then the lights returned. "Captain, it didn't attack us," Miri whispered. Elian looked confused. She was right. The Sky Serpent had moved around them, but it had not fired any weapons. It had not damaged the ship. It had only watched them, studied them, examined them like a scientist observing a small animal. Navigator Veer pointed at the screen. "Captain, look, it left. A signal." A small icon flashed on their calm screen, a signal unlike anything they had seen before. It pulsed slowly, almost like a heartbeat, repeating the same pattern again and again. The crew did not know what it meant, but they all felt the same thing. The creature was calling them. It wanted them to follow. Elian hesitated. The legend said whoever followed the Sky Serpent never returned. Some claimed it guarded a hidden place in the sky, a place untouched by humans. Others believed it led travelers to their doom. None of the stories agreed on the truth, but the Horizon Runner's mission was clear: investigate strange things, report new discoveries, and explore the unknown. And right now, the greatest unknown in the entire sky was watching them with glowing eyes. "I think it wants to show us something," Miri said softly. Yelen knew she was right, and he also knew they had no choice. If they turned back, their report would be dismissed. No one would believe they truly saw the legendary creature. And even if they did believe, they would send another ship. That ship might not survive. "Follow it," Yelen said. The Sky Serpent drifted away, moving with slow, graceful motions. The Horizon Runner followed carefully, keeping a safe distance. They descended deeper into the storm clouds, moving through lightning and violent winds. But wherever the serpent passed, the storm parted for it, opening a safe path for the ship. Hours passed, or maybe only minutes, the crew couldn't tell. Time felt strange inside the storm, but eventually the clouds began to thin. A soft white glow appeared ahead. The serpent glided toward the light. When they broke through the clouds, the crew gasped. Far above the world, hidden inside a massive pocket of calm air, floated a giant structure like an enormous ring made of silver metal, glowing with ancient power. It was clearly not human. It was far older, far more advanced. The sky serpent coiled around the structure and sang its deep, resonant song again. They had reached a place no human had ever seen, and the serpent was waiting. The crew of the Horizon Runner stared at the enormous ring-shaped structure, floating in the clear pocket of sky. None of them had ever imagined something like it. The metal surface looked ancient, yet it glowed with bright lines of blue energy that flowed like rivers across its shape. It was beautiful, but also frightening. It felt alive, almost as if it was watching them in return. Captain Yelen kept his eyes on the sky serpent, which was now resting near the outer edge of the structure. The creature floated in silence, its long body coiled loosely round one section of the ring. It did nothing, no threats, no sudden moves. It simply waited, its glowing eyes fixed on the Horizon Runner. "What do you think this place is?" Veer asked quietly. Miri shook her head. "I don't know, but I think the legends were right. This creature protects something. Something old." Yelen could feel it too. There was a weight in the air, a silent pressure, as if they had entered a forbidden place. But turning back now was impossible. The explorer in him refused to retreat. This was a discovery that could change everything. "Scan the structure," he ordered, gently. "Don't send strong beams." "Yes, Captain," Miri said. The ship hummed softly as she activated the softer scanners. Light readings filled the screen, strange numbers, strange shapes, strange energy flows. The ring was huge, much larger than it had looked from a distance. It stretched nearly 10 kilometers across, forming a perfect circle. But its center was hollow, filled with soft white mist that drifted slowly in spirals. Suddenly, a new signal lit up on the control panel. "It's the serpent again," Veer said, leaning forward. "It's sending something, almost like a message." Jelen's heart beat faster. "Can you translate?" "Not really. The signal is too complex," Veer replied. "But I think it's urging us to move closer." Miri looked uneasy. "Captain, this could be dangerous." "Everything about this has been dangerous," Yelen said. "But we came to explore, and this is the greatest discovery humanity has ever seen." He took a deep breath. "Move the ship forward." Slowly, carefully, the Horizon Runner glided toward the massive ring. As they approached, the blue rivers of energy across the metal surface brightened. The air around them vibrated softly, as if the structure was waking from a long sleep. Then something impossible happened. A massive circular doorway opened on the inner side of the ring. The metal plates shifted smoothly, without sound, revealing a tunnel glowing with warm white light. It was clear the structure recognized the serpent, and now it recognized them. The entire crew fell quiet. They could feel that they were crossing into a place no human had ever been invited into. "It wants us to enter," Veer whispered. Yelen nodded. "Then we go inside, but slowly. If anything looks wrong, we pull back." The Horizon Runner drifted through the open doorway. The moment they crossed the threshold, the light behind them dimmed, and the tunnel sealed shut. The ship was now inside the ring. Everyone held their breath. The interior was enormous. Instead of a simple hollow space, the ring held a massive chamber filled with floating platforms, glowing cores, and long metal pathways stretching into the distance. Blue energy flowed through the pathways like living streams. The walls shimmered with strange symbols the crew had never seen before. "It's like a machine city," Miri whispered, amazed. "And we're inside it," Veer added. A soft hum filled the chamber, gentle but powerful. The energy streams brightened and pulsed in a steady beat. It almost sounded like a heartbeat, slow and calm. Then the sky serpent entered through another opening ahead of them. It moved with smooth, slow motions, guiding them deeper into the chamber. Its glowing body reflected off the silver walls, creating long curves of shining blue light. "It's leading us somewhere," Yelen said. "Stay close to it." They followed the creature to the center of the chamber. There, a massive column of white light rose from the floor to the ceiling, tall, bright, and humming with deep energy. The serpent circled around the column, then stopped and faced the ship. It lowered its head, fixing its eyes on the crew. The ship's lights flickered. The floor vibrated softly. A cold wind blew through the cockpit, even though there was no open window. Then the main screen filled with glowing symbols, moving in organized patterns, shifting into new shapes faster than the crew could follow. Shifting into new shapes faster than the crew could follow. "It's communicating," Veer said, "trying to show us something." The symbols moved faster, forming simple pictures of stars, planets, and long paths through space. The crew watched, stunned. The symbols showed a map, a huge star map, far bigger than anything humans had ever charted. Miri's eyes widened. "Captain, this is not just a message. It's showing us entire parts of the galaxy we've never explored." The sky serpent moved closer to the column of light. Its body glowed brighter, pulsing softly with the same rhythm as the machine city around them. Yelen felt a chill. "It wants us to learn this. But why?" Then the symbols changed. The map faded. New images appeared. Images of war, fire, dark shapes spreading across star systems, armored figures marching across worlds, and then the serpent itself, fighting something huge and terrible. The crew froze. Miri whispered, "Captain, this is not just a place of knowledge." Veer swallowed hard. "It's a warning." The final symbol appeared, a single message, simple, clear: "They are coming." The words on the screen, "They are coming," hung in the air like a cold weight pressing against every heart on the horizon runner. No one spoke for several seconds. The warning felt too big, too real, too dangerous. It was not just a message for them. It was a message for all humanity. The glowing symbols faded slowly, leaving the screen dark. Only the soft hum of the chamber remained. The sky serpent floated near the column of white light, its body pulsing with a slow rhythm, almost like breathing. It waited, watching the humans closely, as if waiting to see whether they understood the danger. Captain Yelen swallowed hard. "Veer, can you find anything else? Any clue about who they are?" Veer shook his head. The message ended too fast, but from the images, whatever is coming looks powerful and violent. Miri crossed her arms, trying to control her worry. "Captain, those shapes in the vision, those machines, they didn't look like anything we've seen before." "No, they didn't," Yelen said. He turned his attention back to the serpent. The creature floated silently, its bright eyes glowing like white flames. Yelen felt a strange sense that the serpent was trying to speak not with words, but with presence, with energy, with emotion. "What do you want from us?" Yelen asked quietly. The serpent tilted its head. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the chamber round them brightened. Blue lines of energy lit up all across the walls, forming a new set of images. The crew leaned forward as they appeared on the main screen. This time, the images were slower, clearer. First, it showed a young serpent, smaller than the one before them, drifting beside a group of similar creatures. Then came a massive fleet of dark, sharp-edged ships emerging from deep space. The ships attacked the serpent kind without warning. The creatures fought bravely, forming shields of blue energy, launching beams of light. But the enemy was too strong. The serpent kind fell, one by one, until only a few remained. The largest serpent, clearly the same one they now followed, escaped, badly injured, and drifted through space until it reached this ring. The ring welcomed it, healed it, and gave it a purpose. A final symbol appeared, Guardian. Veer whispered, "It's the guardian of this place." Miri added softly, "Maybe the last of its kind." The serpent lowered its head as if agreeing. Yelen felt a deep sense of sadness. This creature, feared and called a myth by humans, had survived the destruction of its entire species. Now it had been trying to protect something far greater than itself. This ring, this place, held knowledge, maps, warnings, maybe even weapons or defenses. The serpent had brought them here for a reason. "We're supposed to help," Yelen said. "That's why it called us." Miri looked uncertain. "Us, humans." "Captain, we're explorers, not soldiers." "Yes, but humanity is growing fast. We're spreading across space. Maybe the serpent believes we're strong enough to fight back against whatever destroyed its people." For a moment, the crew fell into deep silence. The thought felt too heavy. Then the serpent made a sound. A soft, deep tone came from its body, a calm, gentle vibration, that filled the chamber. The floor lit up beneath the Horizon Runner. The ship shook slightly as something activated beneath it. Mary gasped. "The ring is scanning us." But the scan was gentle, like a soft wave of heat passing through the ship. No alarms sounded. Instead, the screens filled with new symbols, new shapes, new instructions. Yelen frowned. "What's happening?" Veer studied the patterns. "I think it's showing us how to use something." "Use what?" Before he could answer, the white column of energy in the center split open. A platform rose from inside the light. On the platform rested a small metallic object, shaped like a smooth, silver cube with blue lines flowing through it like veins. "It wants us to take that," Mary said, pointing. Jen felt nervous. "Veer, analyze it." Veer's fingers danced over the controls. After a moment, he looked up in shock. "Captain, that cube is storing map data. Huge amounts of it. Entire star systems we have never charted." "Is that all?" Yelen asked. Veer swallowed. "No. There's something else." "What?" "Defense instructions. Technology designs. Things far more advanced than anything humans have ever made. This cube, it might be a guide, a training tool, a warning system." Yelen stared at the cube. "It wants us to prepare." The serpent made a deep, soft tone again approval. The platform floated toward the ship slowly. Yelen reached out and pressed the button to open the small retrieval hatch. The cube drifted inside, settling gently into the chamber. The moment it touched the floor, the ship powered up. Lights brightened. Panels unlocked. A message appeared on the main screen. "Return home. Teach them. Prepare them." Mary's eyes widened. "It wants us to take this back to Earth," Veer added, "and warn them." The serpent drifted closer, its enormous head only a few meters from the cockpit glass. It looked at Yelen with its glowing eyes. In those eyes, he saw trust, hope, and fear. "Captain," Mary whispered, "we need to follow its message. We need to go." Yelen nodded slowly. "Set a course out of the chamber." As the ship turned, the serpent backed away, watching them carefully. It did not follow. It did not block their path. It simply floated near the white column, guarding it like it had done for years, maybe centuries. As they approached the exit tunnel, the doorway opened again, allowing them to leave. Just before they exited, the serpent released one final sound, a long, deep call that echoed across the metal chamber. It sounded almost like a farewell. Then the Horizon Runner slipped through the tunnel and shot back into the open sky. They were going home, but none of them knew something important. They were not alone. A dark shape moved deep within the clouds behind them, silent and hidden. Something else had heard the serpent's warning, and it was already following them. The Horizon Runner moved quickly through the thinning clouds, climbing back toward the open skies. Captain Yelen kept his hands steady on the controls while Mary monitored the engines. The ship was running at full power, but something about the air felt heavier now, even though they had left the ancient ring structure behind. The warning still echoed in their minds. Veer kept watching the scanner screen. "Captain, I don't know why, but some readings are strange. The storm clouds behind us are shifting." Yelen glanced back at the display. "Is the serpent following?" "No," Veer said. "This is something else." Mary leaned forward, her voice tense. "Something else? Like what?" Veer hesitated. "I'm not sure, but whatever it is, it's big." Jelen's stomach tightened. Eyes forward. "We need to get beyond the clouds." The Horizon Runner finally pushed through the last layer of storm. Bright sunlight spilled across the cockpit windows, warm and peaceful. But the crew felt no peace. The quiet sky made the tension worse, because they sensed something was wrong. A soft beep echoed from the back of the cockpit. "Captain," Veer said. The scanners picked up movement. Yelen frowned. "Where?" "Behind us." Mary flipped a switch. The rear camera activated. The screen showed the open sky, empty and still, until a dark shape shifted between the clouds far below. "Zoom in," Yelen ordered. As the image sharpened, the crew grew silent. Silhouetted against the storm, something long and sharp moved with slow, controlled motions. It wasn't like the sky serpent. It had no smooth curves, no glowing blue lines. Instead, its body was angular, spiked, and jagged, its armor shaped like broken metal shards. A cold feeling ran through Jelen's body. That doesn't look natural," Mary spoke softly. That thing wasn't part of the legend. Veer stared wide-eyed at the screen. Captain, look, there are symbols on its armor. The camera zoomed further. Strange red symbols glowed faintly on the dark creature's surface. The markings were sharp, almost like teeth. They pulsed slowly, like something alive. Mary whispered, Captain, those markings look like the images we saw on the serpent's warning. Veer nodded slowly. The enemy. The ones coming. The creature shifted again, moving closer to the open sky. It didn't fly like the serpent. Its movements were stiff, mechanical. It looked like a machine, but also alive. Jen made a fast decision. We need to reach orbit. Now. Mary, full burn on the thrusters. Yes, Captain. The ship's engines glowed bright blue and roared against the sky. The Horizon Runner shot upward, rising into the upper atmosphere. The sudden speed pushed the crew into their seats, but the dark creature reacted instantly. It's following us. Veer shouted. Acted instantly. It's following us. Veer shouted. On the rear screen, the being rose quickly, slipping through the clouds like a knife through paper. Its body twisted unnaturally, adjusting its shape for speed. Red lights flared along its sides. Mary glared at the scanner. It's gaining on us fast. Yelen lifted his voice. Power to shields front and rear. Energy surged through the ship. Blue shield lights flickered across the hull. Then Veer's voice cracked. Another one, Captain. A second creature just appeared. The camera shifted. A second dark figure emerged from the storm. Then a third. All of them had the same jagged, broken metal appearance, the same pulsing red symbols, the same unnatural movements. The crew's blood ran cold. How many? Yelen asked. Veer checked quickly. 3 confirmed. Maybe more in the clouds. Yelen gritted his teeth. We don't fight. We escape. The ship pierced the last segment of atmosphere. The sky grew darker, fading into space. 1 more minute, and they would reach safe orbit, where they could activate long-range engines. But the creatures were fast. Suddenly, the ship shook violently. Boom. A shockwave hit the shields. Sparks flew from the ceiling. We've been struck. Mary shouted. Veer scanned fast. Energy burst from the first creature. No weapon signature, but it hit like a blast. Shields stable. Yelen asked. For now. Mary answered. The creature shot upward again, closing the distance. Yelen took a risk. Angle the ship 30 degrees and dive. Mary hesitated. Dive? Toward the atmosphere? Do it. The Horizon Runner tilted sharply and dove back toward the clouds. The sudden movement threw the creatures off for a moment. One overshot and spun wildly, its sharp body twisting into a spiral. Yelen pulled the ship up again. Now full thrust straight for orbit. The engines screamed. The ship surged upward with all its power. The creatures chased, but the sudden maneuver had given the Horizon Runner precious seconds of distance. Veer checked the scanners. Captain, they're still coming, but they lost some speed during the dive. Good, Yelen said. Just hold together a little longer. The ship shook as it pushed through the last layer of atmosphere and burst into open space. Stars appeared all around them. The ship's alarms stopped. The shaking ended. We made it, Mary breathed. But Veer's voice cut through the relief. No, not yet. Yelen turned. What now? Veer pointed at the screen. The creatures. They're still coming. And Captain, they can survive in space. The screen showed the 3 dark beings rising into orbit, their red markings glowing brighter. They moved fast for comfort. Yelen's voice grew tight. Prepare the jump engines. Mary's fingers flew across the controls. Charging. 40%, 50. Veer watched the scanners with fear. Captain, they're almost in firing range. Faster, Mary, 70%. Come on. The 3 creatures opened their jaws, revealing rows of sharp, glowing red cores. Energy built inside their mouths. Veer shouted, Captain, they're about to fire. Yelen hit the override. Mary jumped now. The engines roared. The screen filled with white light, and the Horizon Runner vanished into hyperspace. Behind them, in the quiet darkness of orbit, the 3 creatures stared at the empty space where the ship had disappeared. They turned toward the distant stars and began moving in the same direction. The Horizon Runner burst out of hyperspace with a violent jolt. The whole ship shook as if something had grabbed it during the jump and tried to pull it back. Sparks scattered from the control panels before the lights finally steadied. Mary rubbed her forehead. That was rougher than usual. Veer checked the readings, his hands shaking slightly. Captain, something strange happened during the jump. Something followed us. Maybe not physically, but the energy patterns were disrupted. Yelen frowned. You mean those creatures? I can't be sure, Veer said. But something touched our jump wake. Something powerful. Yelen stared out the window. They were now in the outer region of the solar system, far from Earth but close enough to send a warning. The stars around them looked calm and peaceful, nothing like the deadly things that chased them. We need to contact Central Command on Earth, he said. We warn them. We show them the cube. And we get help, Mary nodded. Let me open a long-range channel. She entered the command codes, but the screen flashed red. Transmission error, source interference detected. She tried again. Same result. Yelen leaned closer. Is our communication damaged? No, Mary said slowly. Something is blocking us. Veer stiffened. Captain, look at the scanner. A single dot appeared behind them, far behind, but moving fast. Too fast. Is that one of the creatures? Yelen asked. I don't know, Veer said. But it's not natural. Yelen knew what that meant. They weren't safe. Not yet, not anywhere. He straightened. We go to Titan Station. They have stronger communication arrays and research labs. They can analyze the cube faster. Titan Station was a human colony orbiting Saturn's moon Titan, a scientific and military outpost. Not as safe as Earth, but far safer than open space. Mary nodded. Plotting a course, the engines warmed again, but before they activated, the ship suddenly shook with a sharp jolt. Bam! Captain, what was that? Veer shouted. Lights flickered. A dark ripple passed across the view outside, like space itself had folded for a moment. Then another alert flashed loudly across every screen. Object detected. Closing fast. Mary zoomed the rear camera and her heart dropped. A dark figure was emerging from hyperspace behind them. But this one was different. Its body was longer, sharper, with more red markings. Its movements were more fluid, more alive. It shook off the jump distortion like dust. Yelen's voice dropped to a whisper. It adapted. Veer swallowed hard. Captain, it followed us through hyperspace. It actually followed us. Humans couldn't chase a ship through a hyperspace jump. No species ever encountered could follow one. But this creature had done it with ease. It bent the rules of nature like they meant nothing. Captain, what do we do? Mary asked. We run, Yelen said. Full power to the engines. Now, the Horizon Runner surged forward. Saturn's pale glow grew larger ahead. Titan Station was close. But so was the creature. Veer looked at the screens in horror. Captain, it's charging energy. The creature opened its jagged mouth. Red light swirled inside. Yelen shouted, evasive pattern delta. Mary jerked the controls. The ship rolled sharply, spinning to the side. A beam of red energy shot past them so close it left a burning trail across the shields. Kurarm. The shields rippled. Shields at 70%. Veer yelled. Another blast shot toward them. Mary rolled the ship again, barely avoiding it. 60%. Yelen grabbed the manual controls. Hang on. He forced the ship into a steep upward climb. The creature followed instantly, weaving through space with terrifying speed. Mary gasped. Captain, Titan Station is reaching out. A message crackled through the speakers, faint but clear. Horizon Runner. This is Titan Station Control. We have visual on an unknown hostile. Repeat, unknown hostile. Redirecting defense systems to protect your approach. Coming fast. Yelen didn't waste a second. Tell them we're coming in hot. The creature fired again. This time the red beam clipped the rear shield. A burst of sparks exploded inside the ship. Shields at 40%. Veer called out. Mary's voice cracked. We can't take another hit. Then Titan Station appeared ahead, large, bright, and surrounded by several defense drones. Station is locking weapons, Mary said. Preparing to fire, but the creature was too close. Too fast, too intelligent. It twisted its body suddenly and shot upward, trying to gain a better angle to strike the station directly. Yelen grit his teeth. Not while I'm breathing. He flipped the emergency override and forced the Horizon Runner into a dangerous move. A sharp backward spin, that put the ship directly between the creature and the station. Miri screamed, "Captain, what are you doing?" "Giving Titan Station a clear shot," he said. "They can't fire with us in the way." Veer shouted, "Captain, it's charging again." Red light built inside the creature's mouth. At that exact moment, Titan Station's voice echoed through the comms. "Horizon Runner, move now." Yelen slammed the controls. The Horizon Runner dove hard just as a massive beam of blue-white plasma shot from Titan Station's defense grid. The beam struck the creature directly. A burst of brilliant light filled the entire screen. Boom! The shockwave hit the Horizon Runner and threw the ship off course. The lights flickered out. The screens went dark. Every sensor died. For a moment, everything was silent. Miri's voice finally broke the tension. "Captain, is it gone?" Yelen stared at the empty, silent space where the creature had been. Smoke drifted across the stars, but no body, no pieces, nothing. He whispered, "No, it's not gone." Then the ship's internal systems crackled back to life. A message appeared on the screen, a single symbol, one of the red markings from the creatures. It pulsed slowly, like a heartbeat. Then the translation system activated and displayed one word, "Soon." The word "soon" pulsed on the screen like a living threat. The crew stared at it in silence, their hearts heavy with fear. Titan Station's defense blast had been powerful enough to tear apart a small ship, but the creature had simply vanished. Not destroyed, not defeated, just gone. Captain Yelen felt a cold pressure in his chest. The warning from the Sky Serpent suddenly felt even more real. Humanity was not ready for an enemy like this. Not even close. Miri swallowed hard. "Captain, Titan Station is requesting we dock immediately." Hard. "Captain, Titan Station is requesting we dock immediately." Veer wiped sweat from his forehead. "Yeah, we need repairs, answers, everything." Yelen nodded. "Take us in." The Horizon Runner drifted toward the docking ring on the side of Titan Station. Emergency lights flashed around the entry bay, guiding them in. As the ship settled onto the magnetic clamps, Yelen finally let out a long breath. At least they were no longer alone in the dark. The docking ramp extended with a loud hiss. A team of security officers waited at the end, their armor sleek and glowing with blue energy lines. Titan Station's chief officer, Commander Raina Holt, stepped forward. She was tall, strong, and known for her sharp mind. "Captain Rhodes," she said, her voice steady, "your message was unclear, but we saw enough to know you're in trouble. What was that thing out there?" Yelen glanced at Miri and Veer, then answered in a low voice, "Something that shouldn't exist." Commander Holt frowned. "Walk with me." They moved quickly down the metal corridor toward the station's command deck. The air smelled of cold steel and recycled oxygen. The atmosphere was tense. Everyone on the station had seen the blast, the shadow, the danger. Inside the command deck, holographic screens displayed the solar system. A red marker pulsed on the last known location of the creature. Holt turned to Yelen. "Tell me everything." Yelen took a deep breath. Then he told her about the storm, the Sky Serpent, the ancient ring, the warning, the vision of war, the cube, and the creatures that followed them. By the time he finished, the room was silent. Holt stared at him, trying to process the scale of what he described. "So you're telling me a mythical alien being brought you into a hidden structure, gave you a star map, and warned that an unknown enemy destroyed its species and is coming here?" "Yes," Yelen said. Veer added, "And they already found us." Miri finished, "They followed us through hyperspace." "That's impossible, but they did." Holt turned to the hologram, jaw tight. "Show me the cube." Yelen nodded to Miri. She opened a secure case she carried and revealed the silver cube, still glowing with soft blue lines like flowing veins. Scientists around the room gasped. One reached out. "Can I?" "No," Yelen said firmly. "We don't know how it reacts to others. Be careful." Holt looked at the cube with a mix of fear and wonder. "If what you said is true, this cube could save humanity. Or doom it." The lights flickered suddenly. Every screen in the room glitched for half a second, showing static and red symbols that looked painfully familiar. Veer froze. "Commander, that's the same pattern that came from the creatures." Another flicker. This time the lights dimmed longer. Holt barked, "Report." A technician answered, "Some kind of outside interference. Not physical, more like an energy disturbance. Jelen's eyes went wide. It's them. They marked us. They marked the ship. They can track us now, Miri whispered, like a signal. Or a scent. Holt cursed under her breath. We need to shut down the station's external channel systems before. Suddenly, an alarm blared. Warning, external sensors detect hyperspace distortions. Everyone froze. Holt spun around. What? The technician's voice cracked. Commander, something is emerging near Saturn's rings. The large screen lit up with a live camera feed of the dark space beyond Titan. At first, it looked peaceful. Then a ripple formed in the darkness. A small tear in space, like a thin crack of red light. The tear widened. A dark shape slipped through. Holt whispered, not again. It was one of the creatures, but not the same one. This one was bigger. Its body had more jagged plating, and bright red lines crawled across its surface like living lava. Its eyes glowed a deep, hateful crimson. Then another tear opened, and another creature stepped through. Then a third. Then a fourth. Miri felt her knees weaken. Captain, there are more of them. Jelen's voice was tight. This is the first wave. Commander Holt snapped into action. Activate defense grid. Prepare battle drones. Alert Earth Command. But Veer shouted, Commander, look. The screen zoomed in. The creatures weren't attacking Titan Station. They were looking at Saturn, and at each other, as if communicating. Then, slowly, they turned their heads toward Titan Station. Toward the cube. Toward the humans. And the largest creature opened its jagged mouth. A single word appeared on every screen in red symbols. Found. Holt grabbed Jelen's arm. Captain, if that cube holds anything that can stop them, we need to unlock it now. Jelen looked at her, then at the cube. It pulsed faster, glowing brighter, almost as if it sensed danger. What if unlocking it triggers something? Miri asked. What if not unlocking it kills us all? Veer countered. The station shook as the first creature moved closer. Holt looked at Jelen. Captain, this is your mission. Your call. Jelen closed his eyes for a second. Then he whispered, open the cube. Then he whispered, open the cube.